What is up, everybody? My name is Michael Burpo. I'm a watercolor artist and I stream on Twitch. You're going to be watching me paint Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts. Alright, I'm painting Destiny Islands. It's from the original Kingdom Hearts game, and it's the starting world for Kingdom Hearts. So I actually painted Traverse Town just a few weeks ago, and this one is actually the world before Traverse Town. So this is kind of where you learn like all the mechanics of the game. You get to set up a little bit of the world building, even though, if we're being honest, a lot of the world building in the original Kingdom Hearts doesn't really matter towards the rest of the game. And I'm just trying to lay down a wash and keep things wet on wet because I'm painting kind of this sunny image. I want the light to feel very natural, to be like poking through. But yeah, this island is very iconic for the Kingdom Hearts game because it's where one of the spots where you fight your first boss and your first rival, and it becomes very iconic throughout this game. It's kind of like a motif that shows up later on in spoilers in the final boss battle, and I think it's like a really cool spot because it doesn't feel that it's just right on the edge of being realistic and also fantastical, because it's revealed that this island actually exists probably a couple hundred feet away from the mainland, but it's where all the kids play and like kind of develop all these friendships. But it felt very like kind of cobbled together by a bunch of kids, like the little bridge on the side. It feels like it was a built by kids or something. So I think it's a very unique feeling.
Dude, how do you not get amped up with this music right now? All right. First time I played it as an adult, I went to my friend's house who loves Kingdom Hearts, and she just let me loose, and we laughed and joked and messed around for several hours. It was so fun because she loves it. I'm not a huge fan. I was giving hilarious commentary the whole time, and she was cracking up. Yeah, here's the thing. Totally understand if you're not into it. I do think that it's not up for debate if it's a good series, because I do believe irrefutably that it's a fantastic series. But I will say, not everyone's cup. Not everyone's cup of tea. But I will also say that that's true for a lot of things.
I painted this actually on my Twitch stream, and I stream every Thursday at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 2:30 Eastern. Stop by.
No, you know what? I think that Kingdom Hearts, it's all about friendship, and it's about not growing up, and it's about all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really a very wholesome series. It takes itself very seriously, so I don't like super love it all the time. Sometimes it can be a little exhausting or just too nostalgic. But you know what? Who doesn't love a little nostalgia? Yeah, I think it's very wholesome. It's a good show, but it's also like or not show, but series. Towards it, like lately, it's getting kind of, they don't really know how to land it. And I think that they're gonna keep making games ad nauseum, but I think that I think it's a really cute game series.
So I'm going to paint these palms, and the key to painting sort of like a palm tree or just trees in general is you really want to start with a base layer, a base color, and that'll be your farthest away color but also your nearer side, and then you're going to layer these values on top of each other so that they start to kind of have this illusion of being in a 360-degree kind of range. And by doing that, I just have to take my time and go on top of the other colors and just layer up the values, and that's what will make it feel very realistic, is by putting up colors on top of each other that make it look like there's shadows and light play that's going to be coming in. And that's what I'm just trying to do, and it just takes a little bit of time.
Oh, I don't actually have a cheater. Give me my cheater. Oh my god, it's Code Pixel! Code Pixel, I was just talking about you. And I was talking about how beautiful of a job you did with my commission. Yo, check out below Code Pixel. I set up the summary or whatever. Not summary. What is it called? You know, the links in my description. I'm actually very pleased with them. I think that they seem profesh, but not too try-hardy. Because I'll be honest, I just kind of didn't want that. Because I didn't want to be too like, oh, Mike is like trying way too hard on this thing, you know? Looks great though. You did a really good job. I'm very pleased with my order. I would recommend you to anybody who is considering getting some stuff, absolutely.
And one thing you're going to see me do frequently on this painting is I'm always going to be touching up these rocks, and the rocks are going to be the darkest aspect of the painting. So that is a relative value. So dark and light are going to be constantly something I'm pushing and pulling, and something can never be brighter than the contrast between a dark. So the darker I make these rocks, the brighter the sky is going to feel. So I'm going to be pushing back and forth between that. Every time I start to touch up anything in the background, I'm always going to be adding a little bit more to this dark rocks until I feel like I finally have nailed it. And you're going to see I don't actually find the right values until a little bit later on when I start to add in some nearly pure black. And this is like right around here is where you're going to start to see I'm actually being a little bit more bold with it. I need to get the dark values in there, and it's going to start to settle the rest of the painting together. And then I'm going to be adding in a little bit of these plants. And the plants are really kind of interesting. They don't seem like they kind of make a lot of sense. Definitely Kingdom Hearts has a style that is a little bit fantastical, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense how some of these plants work out. But I like how they kind of have this movement, and they feel sort of tropical, and they have like a almost like a Florida vibe to them. It was really fun, and I really wish I could go and like visit this. I wonder if anyone's ever tried to like construct the this beach before, but it's so cool.
All right, this not good in there. Let's just get like a little, just kind of letting the
And you're going to see that one of the parts of painting that I had to get over is that even if you paint something accurately, or what I would call accurately, it won't feel correct until you have the full range of values in there. So you can see that I had painted this little palm that kind of pokes off the side. I had painted that accurately, but it didn't feel correct because I was missing the dark values in it. So sometimes if you think you have the form correct, a lot of the times it's what's bothering you is that you don't have the lights and the darks. But one thing I started doing quite often is I do this, I call it critique scene in my OBS. And when I paint side by side, you'll kind of see how I work towards the end result. And for this one example, I'm building in the lights first, and whatever the lightest things are, so like the palms and like the different parts of the green, and also building it onto the most stable structure, which is this rock, which is the dark. So I'm kind of adding the light on top of the dark, and then I'll add the detailed darks on top of everything else. And this kind of allows me to use the rock as the grounding structure for the painting. And I think that when you start to compare, you know, what a final result is going to look like, what you want in your head, you'll start to see that it's kind of like a step-by-step process. There's not a lot of mysticism to painting when you kind of compare just like what you're painting up front versus in the back. And now what I'm doing right here is I'm painting like the blending of lights into darks. And what I think a lot of people early on in their art career do is they see things a little bit too kind of binary. They see their paints as either lights or darks. And I think a lot of times what you can do is you can just think about the structure that you're trying to paint. So for example, these trees, I'm painting they're far enough away that I can't really see the detail. So as a result, I can't see the delineation as often with the lights and the darks. So for example, right here, I'm allowing the greens, which is a light in this case, to bleed into the darks, or even leave some of it kind of empty. And that's going to allow the painting to kind of have that, I don't know, that lack of detail that is the hallmark of being, you know, farther away. But this is a really kind of a longer kind of stretch of painting. It's funny, I got really locked in on this painting because I felt like I had the painting in my control. There's not a lot of things that were like difficult to paint about this painting because, you know, you don't know if I'm painting accurately or not. You just know that I have probably a reference photo that I'm looking at, so I can kind of trick you into thinking that this is a real place. And that's kind of what I want out of these paintings, is I sort of want to paint these fantastical, these fantasy scenes that don't seem like they could exist, and then paint them in a realistic-ish way, and kind of, you know, bring that into a reality. Because a lot of times when you see a watercolor painting, you think that it's got to be a real place. So I'm hoping that I can kind of take you along and show you some places that, you know, could be if video games were real. But right here, I'm just kind of doing that push-pull again with the darks and the lights, and adding them in, and this will allow it to have like a little bit of structure to it, but the darks will kind of get lost in the background. Yeah, I think that this is coming along quite well, and I'm feeling like I'm at like a very comfortable point in it, and now it's just a matter of getting this bridge in on the left.
I'm feeling pretty good about this. This is pretty interesting. Let's do a little quick critique. What do I notice? I notice that Notice that my wash on the sky is annoyingly weak. And also that my horizon line is annoyingly weak. Maybe I'll have to wash in a little bit more blue. Let's let that, kind of want the power proof to be in there a little bit more strong. So in case you guys never play the game, the power proof fruit is actually significant to the plot, which I think is funny. And it's a fruit in the shape of a star. And they say that if you share a power poo with someone, then your fates will be forever intertwined. That's what they say. And it's funny. It's one of those like lore items that actually kind of cool.
So you can see them now. I'm trying to touch back in the details, and a lot of the best ways to touch in details again is to carve out the light spaces with your darks. So for example, with here, I'm trying to paint in this power poo fruit, and what that is essentially just this star-shaped fruit that's going to be growing out of this tree. But I can't add the yellow right on top of everything because yellow is such a weak color. I need to kind of carve around it with the darks, which is what I do. And now I'm going back in, I'm redoing my wash, and I hate redoing washes because they never quite fit on there the way that you want them to after the first time. You kind of get one good shot at a wash. So what I'm doing here is instead I'm doing like this little flecking of colors, and that's going to just add some variation to the sky and to the wash. And now I'm trying to get in my darks. So now we need a little foreground for this to feel like a scene, and I'm darkening the water that you can see in the reference photo is rather dark. So I'm trying to get in a little bit darker, and then create like a more of a strong horizontal for the island. And it's like I said, push pull the entire time, and we're getting closer though.
Okay, now we got everything in there except for the bridge to it. That's fun.
And like I said in the beginning, I love this bridge because it feels like something that a kid would make. It's got like way too many beams, and it's got like way too many support structures, but it in the end it does work. And if you see the rest of Destiny Islands, you'll see that there's like tons of stuff built by like planks and wood, like as if the kids were like really industrious and stole them from somewhere and built a whole bunch. And I think it's a really cool like bit of lore. It's like showing, not telling, sort of thing. And what I'm trying to do with this is adding the wash into layers. So you'll see I go in, I'll add all the brown to the entire thing, and then I'll start adding the darks on top of it. And the key is where it starts to blend with the rock, because you'll see in the painting it doesn't have like a great line. So what I'll probably do is I'll paint the entire bridge in there first, and then I'll add the rock back on top of it, so that it kind of, because the value of the rock is darker, it'll allow it to kind of sit in there a little bit easier. So I'm not getting too worried about that right now because you can cover a lot of things with a good shadow. So that's kind of my approach to painting a wash and then these details and letting things kind of meld together.
Nice. I think that this is going to be actually a really nice painting. It was touching to go there for a second, but honestly, I think that I think it's going to look rather nice.
Yeah, and there's always a point in a painting where I feel like I kind of turn the corner or like you kind of get the spark. And this painting, it was right around here. I'm finally getting everything for the painting all on the page, and then I can really critique the painting. I kind of have a rule for myself where I can't be too harsh of a critique, say something is good or bad, until I have every element onto the page. Because then, if you don't do that yet, the number one thing I'll say in a critique is, well, you should just keep going and paint the rest of it. And even with this most recent painting I did of this girl in Tokyo, I didn't like her form and I didn't like all the lights I had. And I showed it to my friend Meg, and she looked at it and she was like, well, why don't you paint in the other building? And I'm like, well, I kind of want to fix everything else. And she's like, no, get all the elements on there and then fix it afterwards. And I think that's kind of what this thing is it wasn't kind of working until I got every element on there. And now, again, I'm going back in and I'm adding more darks. And this is probably like the sixth time this painting I've already gone in and added more darks in, because now I'm painting in with like a blue dark instead of a black dark, if that makes sense. And now I'm just kind of, rounding out the painting, adding in the darks. The darks are what will allow the details to really shine because it'll allow it to have a form.
Look at that. Honestly, pretty decent. Let me get my sky drop inside of the bridge. And then
And what I mean about a sky drop is I'm trying to get the wash to act as if it went behind the bridge because it is a sky scene. So what I'll do is I'll kind of protect the bridge and make sure that I'm painting red on white, and then I'll add the wash in. And now I'm adding a little bit more flex to kind of give it that illusion of detail closer up. You see the details in the water and the sparkles close up, and then you don't really see them as far away. So I'll probably darken up the horizon here in a second.
there it is, guys. I think that is Destiny Islands. It could go a little bit darker inside of here, but I don't really feel like doing that. Oh, people, let's do a little bit of a critique to end it. So, what do we like about it? I think that the brights inside of here are rather successful. So if you look pretty close, I think you can see that the bright is pretty solid. I'm going to need to add a little bit of, let's add like a tiny, add like maybe a tiny extra little pop to the yellow. Oh man, that actually came together really quick. I kind of like it. But you know what? I think here's what I like about this painting. I think I really like the brightness of it, how bright this corner is. This is almost pure white. I think I like this green inside of here. I think that this green is rather successful. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really pick it up. But it feels like a beach scene. Yeah, that's only 2 hours 25 minutes in, and I'll be honest, I actually only sketched for about 10 minutes as well, 15 minutes. Listen to this song. How can you not love this song? Yep. All right, everybody. Should I peel it, you think? Let's do it. All right, let's actually get this full shot in there. it is. Oh, my mom is listening. I see you on Twitch. Very nice so far. That was at 3:49. My mom's been watching for a minute. Hi, Mom.
Well, that's kind of the end of the painting, and I'm actually really pleased with this one. This kind of is more along the lines of what I'm going for with these video game kind of paintings. I think that Traverse Town, which is the painting on the right, that's also from Kingdom Hearts. It's actually the next world. I did this one before, and it's a little bit more game feeling, whereas this one of Destiny Islands feels a little bit more along the lines of kind of what I'm trying to go for, which is taking video game kind of scenes and worlds and turning them into kind of realistic places. And I think that if you can go and bridge that illusion with me, I think I'll, really have a lot of fun. If you enjoy watching a sped up version of this, maybe you want to watch the full thing and learn a thing or two about painting, you can stop by my stream. It's twitch.tv/burpski. I stream on Thursdays at 6:30 Eastern, as well as on Sundays at 2:30 Eastern. I'd love for you to stop by, say hi, maybe you'll learn a thing or two, and I'm always open to suggestions. I'm trying to figure out which video game I'm going to paint next. It'll probably be another Kingdom Hearts one until someone tells me otherwise. Alright, thanks everybody for watching. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint Destiny Islands. I'm really pleased with this painting. I think it turned out kind of how I'm going for with some of these fantasy paintings. I think that you can kind of make that jump from fantasy to kind of real life, and if I can bridge that gap, I think it'll be like a really compelling scene. But I think I learned a lot also on this painting, especially in my use of light. So if you enjoyed this painting, like I mentioned before, I stream on Twitch. Stop by. I'd love to kind of see, who's watching and, take some ideas. I'm always kind of looking for what I should be painting next. If not, drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll have more videos out soon. Thanks everybody. See ya.